Hello everyone, welcome to Come Sit at My Table. We're Tom and Melissa and we sure are glad that you're here. Today, we're going to make a really good summer dessert. Now I know it's already getting up into summer, but there's a lot of summer still left. We're not going to give up on summer just yet. So we thought we would bring you along today as we make key lime pie bars. I found this recipe about 8 years ago in a magazine. I don't remember which magazine I found it in, but we started making it mainly because we had a friend who loves key lime pie. So we made it for him to share with him, and we have just fallen in love with it. I'm going to tell you that I really like key lime, and I love the filling in these key lime pie bars, but my favorite part is the crust. When I first saw this recipe in the magazine, I was a little surprised by how the crust was made. And I thought, I'm not really sure that's going to work. But we soon found out. As soon as we made it the first time, we found out this crust is fantastic. Now, I would like to tell you that this is a no-bake dessert. And it kind of is. But you have to make some sugar cookies to make the crust. So the only cooking part of it is you have to bake some sugar cookies. As soon as those cookies are baked and out of the oven, there's no more cooking.
Have you ever started with store-bought sugar cookies?
No, because this crust is just so daggone good. I guess you could use store-bought sugar cookies, but they would have to be crisp because you need to crunch these up. You'll see what I mean. Here's what we're going to use to make our key lime pie bars. We're going to start with a 16.5 ounce roll of Pillsbury sugar cookie dough. I know that sounds strange, but we're going to bake those and then crunch them up. And we're going to mix those crunched cookies with 1 cup, just 1 cup of Cool Whip. The rest of the Cool Whip we're going to save to put in the filling that goes on top of the crust. We're also going to use...
So you need both tubs, though.
You need 16 ounces. I tried to find a 16-ounce tub today, and our local store was out of 16-ounce tubs. So I had to get 2 8-ounce tubs. Well, of course, that's the same amount, so it'll work fine. But 16 ounces is what you want. Good point, Melissa. We also are going to use 2 14-ounce cans. I think they're 14 ounces. Yes, 14-ounce cans of Eagle brand milk. Now, you don't want the low fat or the sugar free or whatever. I don't know. They have something that's healthier for you.
This is not a health food that we're going
You're not going
right?
to make this every day, and hopefully you'll do what we do and share it with friends. That's what we're going to do with this. So you need 2 cans of that. You're also going to need 3/4 of a cup of lime juice. Now, let me tell you that key lime juice is the best if you can find key limes. If you can't find key limes, which are small, then regular limes will work, or you can use bottled key lime juice. I've done that. When I couldn't find good limes, I have found limes that just didn't look right, they just didn't look good, so I've just used bottled, and you can do that. But the flavor is better if you can find key limes or real limes, and you need about 3/4 of a cup. If you're using key limes, it's probably going to take about 6 key limes to get 3/4 of a cup. Our next ingredient, and really our last ingredient, is 3 6-ounce containers of Yoplait key lime pie yogurt. I know that's kind of a surprising ingredient, but you need that key lime flavor, and the yogurt just makes it really creamy. The only other thing you're going to need is the zest off of your limes. And you don't have to zest them all. You need about 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. All you're going to do with that lime zest is sprinkle it on top of your dessert. So there's a little bit of green. You don't want it covered. You just want a little bit on there to give the top of it color. So just the zest, probably off of 2, 3 key limes. Well, I don't know. A tablespoon or 2. That's all you need. Okay, so we're going to start this recipe. I'm going to move all of this back because I'm going to bring over my baking sheet and we're going to bake these cookies. Now, the way we want to do this is to slice our cookie dough about 1/2 inch thick. You don't want big thick cookies because remember, you want them to get crisp. You want them to be crunchable. So don't go wild. Don't slice them in huge slices. Just slice them, put them on your parchment paper lined baking sheet, and then we're going to bake them. Now I've already preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and we're going to bake these for about 20 to 22 minutes. And then we'll take them out of the oven when they're done. You don't want them burned, you just want them nice and crispy, a little browned around the edges. Our cookies are out of the oven and they have cooled completely. I want you to see that they are brown. They are browner than Melissa and I would ever bake a cookie. We just don't like cookies that are overcooked. But you want them to be crispy because we're going to crunch them up. Now, we could do that in a food processor, but then we'd have to wash the food processor bowl and the blade. So the easiest way for me is just to put them, let's see if these snap when you hear that?
I did.
Okay, that's what you want. You want them to snap. You want them to be crunchy. Listen. That's what you want. So we're just going to put those in our bag and we're just going to crunch those up. Whew, about dropped that one. Okay. Just put them all in there. I'm just breaking them in half or a little more, really. Okay, now, here's where you can take out some frustration. We had a video, I don't know, a month or two ago, where I crunched up something. I don't even remember what it was. And someone posted and said, I'm going to crunch that up with my fist and pretend it's my ex. Well, I did laugh. I'm not going to lie. I got a chuckle. But let's not promote violence.
I had to deal with insurance today. Maybe I should be pounding.
Yeah. You want to take a turn, baby?
Sure.
I know, you were really frustrated by the time you got off the phone.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Insurance can be frustrating sometimes. But, you know, there are other things it can be too. I'm going to get a little of that air out of here. It kind of keeps it from crunching up. Now, if you don't have a mallet like this to do this with, you can use a rolling pin. You can use a can, a big can of green beans or potatoes or whatever you have. Or use your fist. I know we laughed about that a second ago, but, that works too. And if you don't want to do that, you don't have any of these other tools, but you have a little food processor, do it in there. Now, you can see here that our cookies are pretty ground up. They're very fine, and that's what we want. Now, we're just going to take those. Thank you, babe.
You're welcome.
We're just going to take those out of our bag, put them in a bowl. And see, here's my cleanup. I can just throw that away. I'm done. And we're going to add 1 cup of our Cool Whip. I'm just going to scrape that right off the top. Put that in my measuring cup because we don't want to waste that. That's part of our Cool Whip. Okay. Let's just take some out of there. Measure out a cup. I'll be honest with you and tell you that if I wasn't doing this on the video, I wouldn't measure it.
Just scoop some out.
I'd scoop some out. But I know on the video, we've had people say, I'm glad you measure everything because that's how I do it. I need to know exactly how much to put in. And I understand that, especially if somebody's a young cook, a new cook, and they don't just guess at measurements. And that's the reason we started this channel, really. Melissa and I wanted to start this so our kids would have our recipes, and if they didn't understand how to do something, they could watch our video and it would be very explanatory. And so sometimes I know I get a little detailed. I know sometimes it's a little more detailed than what most of you need. But I do that because I want somebody who's not an experienced cook to be able to make the dishes that we're making.
And let's just be honest, it's the teacher in you too.
Yeah, that too. I can't help it.
Just comes out, doesn't it?
It's just part of me. I don't know.
That looks good.
Oh, this crust is so good. This is my very favorite crumb crust. I like this better than graham cracker crust or any other crust. This is my favorite. And you want to just continue to kind of mix this until you don't see that Cool Whip anymore. You want it to kind of be completely absorbed by those crunchy cookies. I'm going to switch to this spoon. I was going to use it for the filling, but I can use it for both. We'll use the same bowl. I think I can just kind of mash those better if I have a solid spoon. Okay, let's put this in our 9x13 pan.
And you sprayed it.
I did spray it. You really wouldn't have to because we're not baking this. But I just thought, it would help it come out a little easier. Okay. We're just going to pat this out. You want it to be pretty even. It's not so important that it be perfectly even, but you don't want really thin spots in part of it and then big humps in the rest. There's our dishwasher. Our dishes are done. Okay. Now this is just a little sticky, but that's okay. That's what you want. Man, that smells good. I love this crust. Did I say that before?
I think you might have mentioned that.
I think I might have. I'm going to go around the edges and just make sure that those are pressed down. You don't want big humps around the edges either. Okay, there, that's a little bit humped up. Okay, now we're going to make our filling. And I know somebody's going to say, don't you have to bake that? Nope, we don't.
Already baked the cookies.
It's already baked. So, for the rest of our recipe, we're just going to take the rest of our Cool Whip.
Same bowl.
Same bowl. There's no reason to dirty another bowl. It will be fine. If you got a few crumbs in there, it's not going to hurt a thing. They're all going in the same pan anyway, aren't they? So we're going to take the rest of that and this. Now, of course, if you have a 16-ounce tub, you'll only have one tub. But because I couldn't find a 16-ounce, we have 2 tubs.
I was just thinking about your grandmother. How she had a collection of Cool Whip tubs.
Go ahead and tell them. I do it too.
Not like she did, baby.
Not like she did.
No.
Yeah. If you went to her house and asked, Mama, do you have such and such to eat? Well, I'll tell you what she kept in them. Crackers. You remember that?
Did. I don't know why, but she would take her crackers out and put them in a Cool Whip tub.
She did. She would take them like club crackers. She would take them out of the box and out of the cellophane wrapper and put them in Cool Whip bowls or butter bowls or whatever she had. I don't know why she did that, but she did. Yeah, when she passed away, how many empty container bowls did we throw away?
Oh, several.
Several hundred. But you know what? She lived through the Depression.
Yeah, absolutely. Different times.
And she remembered not having anything. And she wasn't about to get caught without what she needed. You remember what we found in her dresser drawers?
Oh my gosh, she had a thing about collecting hose too.
Yep.
Of her heart.
Yep.
I'm sure that was a real hardship at that time. And
she said when she was a young woman and the Depression was going on. She could not get hose to wear.
And she always wore hose.
Always had on. Well, not if she was like out in the yard or something. But yeah, if she went somewhere, she was going to have on hose. And she wasn't about to be caught without hose. There was just no way. She wasn't going to do it. So she hoarded hose. Nylon stockings. I really don't know how many pairs she had. Dozens and dozens.
Full.
Yeah,
really
drawers full.
That was her thing.
Okay, I don't know why we're telling all this.
I know, sorry.
People probably don't care. But I'll tell you something else she had.
The Cool Whip containers just made me think about her.
You know, I miss her. I miss her so much. Okay, one other thing. Then I won't tell anything else on her. She also had drawers full of a certain kind of perfume. And I said, she must have loved this perfume. She's got drawers full of it. Well, as it turned out, my mother always gifted her that same kind of perfume for her birthday and Christmas. And she evidently hated it because she never wore them. I mean, they weren't even opened. The boxes were all sealed. My mom was like, that's all that perfume I gave her. Now, my grandmother would have never said, I don't like that. Don't buy me that. But obviously, she didn't care for it. Isn't that funny?
I've forgotten about that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yep. Man, I miss her. She could cook like nobody's business. By the way, I put in the Eagle brand milk and now I'm putting in the yogurt. I kind of forgot to tell you what I was doing.
Well, we're following along.
Okay.
I have to take a little trip down memory lane.
Yeah. And she could cook like nobody I ever knew. Well, she and my dad were both great cooks. My mom was a good cook, but it was work for my mom. My grandmother, it wasn't work.
She had a magic wand in the kitchen or something, I'm telling you.
She did.
So
How did she do it? We would go to see her. She lived close to us. And we would go to see her, and she would say, are you all hungry? Of course, you can't visit your grandmother without eating. I think there's a law on that. And within 30 minutes, she would have a meal on the table. Be like, Mama, how did you get that meal on the table so fast? Oh, I don't know. There went our 3/4 cup of lime juice. I'm going to switch to a whisk.
While the cookies were baking, you squeezed the key limes and
zested them.
Yes, that's the word I'm looking
zested
for. Zested them.
Yeah, zested the lime, squeezed the key lime juice, everything like that. Now, you just splashed it all over you. We just want to completely incorporate this. And if you're smart and not like me, you'll just fold it like this rather than try to stir it real fast. Because if you do what I just did, probably gonna have it all over your shirt like I do right now. Okay. Now, you can tell that this is not thick enough to put in and cut it. So we can't pour it in there and then start eating it. This has to set up. So we're going to pour it on top of our crust. It's already thickening. Look how thick that is. It's going to get a whole lot thicker. And once it has completely thickened up, which will take several hours, we probably will just put it in the refrigerator and wait until tomorrow to try to cut it. If you did this early in the morning, it would probably be ready by that evening, by the time you have dinner. But I'll get that off there and switch back to my spatula. But if you're doing it like up in the day, in the afternoon or whatever, you're probably going to have to leave it overnight and let it set up. It is going to take a little while. Man, doesn't that look good?
It does. It smells really nice.
Mm-hmm. I love this dessert. I'm glad I found it 8 years ago. And I should have written down which magazine I got it from, but I just do not know. I didn't write it down.
Which is pretty unlike you.
I know, because almost all of my recipes, I take detailed notes on where I got them, who gave them to me, or where I found them. But for some reason, I just wrote down that I found this in July of 2016. So it's been 2 years, or 8 years. But I don't know which magazine. I do know it came from a magazine. I do remember that. I just don't remember which one. I'm almost, I don't want to say something that's not true, but I don't think this is that big of a deal. But I think I got it out of a magazine in a doctor's office. I kind of remember having this magazine, reading it while we were waiting, and
Please tell me you didn't tear the page out of the magazine.
I don't think so, because I don't have that page. I just have it written down. So I don't know if I copied it while I was sitting there or if I took a picture of it. I don't know. And I may be wrong. It may not have been while we were in a doctor's office. Okay. So we have one last thing to do. We need to sprinkle the top with a little grated or zested lime zest. And I'm not using near all of this. I just want to sprinkle a little bit on top just to give it some color. Not much. I probably didn't even need to zest a second lime, and I did 3. And the reason I did 3 is that I got carried away thinking about something else, and I did.
I know.
By the way, before you zest your limes, make sure you have washed them. Make sure you don't know what's on the outside of those.
Just the outside.
If you're going to zest a lemon, a lime, an orange, or anything, wash it first. You don't know who's touched it or where it's been, or okay. I think that's enough. Maybe a little bit right there in the corner. Not much. Just a little color right there. Okay, that's it. We're going to put it in the refrigerator. Let it sit overnight, or if you do this in the morning, probably at least 8 hours, and then it'll be ready to taste. So in the fridge we go. Our key lime pie bars have set in the refrigerator overnight. They have set up beautifully, and now we're ready to do a little taste test for you. I'm not even going to ask. I know without asking.
That is really nice. David's gonna love that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. The crust is really good.
That's what I was going to say. I love that crust.
The crust paired with that key lime, it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good combination.
Let me tell you, a lot of people think a key lime pie or key lime bars should be green. They should not. Key lime juice is not green. So you really should not add green food coloring to it. We've been to Key West, Florida a few times, and they are quick to tell you there that if you get a piece of green key lime pie, you're not eating key lime. So it should be this color. That is so good. That is light, creamy, summery. It's just a perfect dessert for summer. I don't know that you could make a better summer dessert. Okay, thank you so much for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you'll make this. I hope you'll try it, especially if you like key lime. It's a great dessert. We would appreciate if you'd go right below this video and click the thumbs up. That's the like button. If you've never done it before, click that subscribe button, the little notification bell beside of it, and the word all. That just gives you a seat at our table. You'll be notified every time we add a new video. Remember that right under the video, Melissa always puts the written recipe in the description box. If you'll click on the title of this video, on the title of this dessert, key lime pie bars, that box will expand and the written recipe is right there and our contact information is under that. And then there's also a place at the bottom for you to leave a comment, and we love reading your comments. So feel free to go to the bottom of the screen and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for watching our video. We sure do appreciate it. We want you to remember that you are always welcome to come sit at my table. Have a great day.